House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes joins us right now to react. Chairman, thank you very much for joining us today. What do you think about Maxine Waters calling you the president's messenger boy?
Well, it happens on a daily basis that I get accused by the Democrats of this. It's been happening even before the Russia investigation began publicly. So right after I was named to the Trump transition team, I began getting attacks. I began getting called that I was some agent of a Russian, of a foreign power. When the reality is that I had warned the Obama administration in early 2016 about this. And look, like your last segment, we have serious, real problems in this country. I mean, if you look at the situation in Austin right now, it's very fluid, as you said. We need to get our FBI and our intelligence agencies working on real problems and get them away from what they're doing now, which is, it looks like spinning in circles. We spent 14 months on this investigation looking for collusion. We didn't find any.
How did you get to that point?
Well, we interviewed many dozens of witnesses, many people right around the president, almost nearly everybody who was involved in the campaign. All of them have testified under oath that they had no contacts with the Russians. If you look at the one example of which was, I think, bad judgment, which is where they met with a Russian lawyer, but it had to do with Russian adoptions. But on the other hand, we did find clear links between the Russians and the Hillary Clinton campaign, which nobody seems to care about.
Chairman, even though you temporarily weren't chairman of this investigation, Adam Schiff says that it's another tragic milestone for Congress, and this conclusion of this investigation represent another capitulation to the executive branch. And he points back to you going over to the White House famously that day and then talking to the press. What is the role of the executive branch in this investigation?
Yeah, well, look, they try to rewrite history. Let's go back to, why did I go to the White House a year ago? The reason I went to the White House was because there were improper unmaskings done on Trump transition officials that had nothing to do with Russia. And I felt like the administration should know about that, because I have a constitutional duty to make sure that people that are being abused by the intelligence agencies actually know about it. So that's why I went to the White House, and all this other stuff is around it. It's just personal attacks that they try to take any little thing, because they're the ones who have said that they have clear evidence of the Trump campaign colluding with Russians. They've said that numerous times, probably hundreds of times, nearly all of them, yet they never produced their collusion to our committee. So we've interviewed all of these folks. We can't find any collusion, and that's where we stand now.
Now, when you ran over to the White House, that was for the unmasking. That is still being investigated, correct? Just because you found no collusion with Hillary Clinton and Russia or President Trump and Russia doesn't mean that you all are finished investigating the unmasking, the FISA abuse, the dossier.
That's right. And so we had been investigating Russia way before this. That's what led me to come out and say that this was the biggest intelligence failure since 9/11, our inability to understand Putin's plans and intentions. That was done in the spring of 2016. I was very critical of the Obama administration. We had an investigation then. What we're closing now is that, look, there's just no collusion. And so this agreement that we had on the Intelligence Committee, the so-called Four Corners Agreement, we've closed that down because there's nothing there. If we find something new, we'll open it back up.
Chairman, two things. One, should the president feel vindicated? And two, when you warned the Obama administration and your findings were there was a lackluster pre-election response to Russia, why didn't the Obama team do anything?
Well, I think it's, well, first of all, it's not my job to give you an analysis of how the president feels or doesn't feel, but
should he feel vindicated?
But look, I think he's been under attack for a very long time, saying that he colluded with Russians.
Right.
He's been adamant that he didn't collude with Russians. We looked at it. We looked at it thoroughly. We interviewed nearly everybody involved in the campaign, and we didn't find any collusion with the Russians. So if you go back to the last administration, their inability to actually do anything against the Russians, it wasn't just in 2016. It goes all the way back to 2009 and 10 when Hillary Clinton hit the reset button with Russia. So, you know, really Trump's position in the campaign was really no different than what the Obama administration's position was going into the campaign. The Obama administration had sent people to Moscow to start to work with the Russians before the campaign. The Department of Justice didn't look into, the George W. Bush Department of Justice didn't look into the Logan Act to try to prosecute the folks that had went to Russia on behalf of the Obama campaign. So look, the more that you look at this, the more it's pretty obvious that you have one side that plays by one set of rules, and then the Republicans are held to a different set of standards. It's our job on the House Intelligence Committee to get the facts, and the facts are that we just haven't found any collusion. We think the Russians are bad. We think they're up to bad things. We think the Putin regime is very dangerous for a whole host of reasons. And we also think one of the findings in our report is going to be that I feel personally that we really should look at using paper ballots. I think the idea of using electronic ballots with no paper trail is a bad idea with today's technology.
I agree 100%. So the Senate releases their report. Sometime 150-page report will be shown to Democrats today, declassified, and maybe we'll eventually all get to see it in a couple of weeks. And then we'll look for the Senate. Devin Nunes, thanks so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.